Yes, everybody, thanks for joining us. This is a little bit of transfer talk. There's going to be tons of these over the summer as the news continues to unfold about United, who we're interested in, and, as this video says, the ones that need to leave. Now, there's going to be a ton of people that are leaving this club. Valencia, I would expect Darmian, I would think Rojo, maybe Alexis Sanchez, although I wouldn't call that guy a fan favourite, certainly not at the moment at least anyway. There's going to be probably a good half a dozen people leave this club during the summer. But I think that there's going to be some fan favourites that probably need to leave the club if we're going to move forward. And unfortunately, that starts with, at first, David De Gea. Dave's been at fault in the last 4 games. He's made as many mistakes in the last 4 matches as he had in the previous 120. Errors leading to goals, that is. He's out of form. Now, I firmly believe if David De Gea had committed his future to Manchester United, he would have the overwhelming support of Manchester United fans. Inside the stadium against Chelsea after the mistake, he had the support of Manchester United fans. There was people trying to get David De Gea chants going. There was people singing his name at half-time. He left that pitch knowing that we're behind him. Online crowd's a little bit different, and online the crowd is going for him just a little bit. I still think that he's in the mix for one of the best goalkeepers in the world. His distribution has been an issue. And I don't know how much of that is purely down to him, how much of that is down to orders in terms of where he needs to be pushing the ball out when he receives it, and how much of it is down to the collection of players that are receiving the ball from him. The mistake when he played it out to Fred wasn't the right ball, arguably, but you would expect your number 6 to be able to collect a ball from there. If you look at some of the teams that we've had come to Old Trafford recently, the comfortability on the ball of some of the opposition players receiving it from a goalkeeper exceeds ours. So some of it is down to himself, some of it is down to others. But I firmly believe David De Gea, if he had signed the contract at Manchester United, would be getting the resounding 100% backing of Manchester United support. I think what frustrates people is he's tried to leave in the past. Probably 2 times. There was the fax machine incident, which turned out to be a corrupted or password protected email file, and there was the time when it looked on the cards and he was dropped for a few games to see him through it not so long ago as well. Now, those incidents and the fact that he's coming up to having just 12 months left on his contract, his resale value probably diminished in the last few months. I think that the time is probably right to cash in on David De Gea. If he signed the contract, he's going nowhere for me. But his unwillingness to sign the contract means we need to move forward as a football team, and we're not going to move that if you don't want to be here. If he walks out the door next season, that's 100 million down the drain. So we're probably going to have to move the guy on. Did a video yesterday looking at a couple of potential options. But David De Gea, for me, I mean, this is hard because, as I said, there was probably 5 or 6 that needed to go anyway. We definitely need to bring in 5 or 6, but every single person on this list that I'm going to go to now probably needs replacing as well, which means that we might need up to 10 players to come in to actually have a chance at doing anything next season, which admittedly is unlikely. Next on the list, Paul Pogba. Now, I think a lot less people will be asked about Paul Pogba going, which is a shame because Paul Pogba's stats that he's put up have been fantastic. But he's been pandered to. He's a player that gets a lot of unfair criticism, but some of the criticism is warranted. This is a guy that tried to leave in the summer. Regardless of whether he left or not, he did try and leave. I could put that down initially to the falling out with Mourinho. We've all workplaces where we don't like the gaffer. And you go, do you know what? Maybe I'm better off elsewhere. Now, a new gaffer came in, has given him the penalty role, has given him the armband on a couple of occasions, has done everything that he could want to do to pander towards Paul Pogba. So if Paul Pogba doesn't want to be here still, I've never seen a player treated so well by a club in my life. So if he doesn't want to be here, again, there's a massive resale value on him. He's coming up to the age now where he's probably going to get that last massive contract. If he wants to stay here and be part of the rebuild of Manchester United, I'll welcome it. But if there's any inkling that he doesn't want to be here, sweet. There's a massive price on his head, and between him and David De Gea, I would expect somewhere in the region of about 200 million to come back into United's transfer kitty. My issue with all of these is whether there's any sort of chance that that transfer kitty gets spent correctly, because I think it probably doesn't. As we saw in 2009 when we signed Michael Owen on a free and Obertan and Valencia to try and replace a Ballon d'Or winning Ronaldo. That's my issue, is that if all of this money gets given to Ollie so he can complete the rebuilding, I think we've got half a chance. If he doesn't, then I don't see that in any way, shape or form. The next one that I think needs to leave is Ander Herrera. Unfortunately, it's the same sort of circumstances as Paul Pogba and David De Gea, and probably one or two of the next ones that are coming up as well. I think Ander Herrera has got the potential to wear the captain's armband at Manchester United. And I tweeted at half-time during the Chelsea game, if that 45 minutes is anything to go by, then Ander Herrera needs to be taken into the boardroom wearing his kit after this game and given that new deal. But if Ander Herrera doesn't want to be here, then I don't want him here. We need players that are committed to the cause, and there's never been a question, on the pitch at least, whether Ander Herrera is committed to Manchester United. But the likelihood is he probably will be going in the summer. And as a fan favourite, it's sad to see him go. And he is someone that I think was probably in consideration for the captain's armband. It seems like every single season, Ander Herrera starts off outcast, works his way into the team, either through training or through others, messing it up somehow. And by the end of the season, he ends up as a key player. And then he's discarded again. And I can understand, with the age that he is, probably one last big contract somewhere. If PSG are willing to offer him like a 5-year deal, which has been rumoured, United can't match that. And I understand it. But if he doesn't want to be here, he needs to go. And the next one that I would go with, Juan Mata. Again, might be the loveliest man in football. I think works fantastically well and was part of, three of these guys was part of a midfield that was fantastic against Chelsea, at least for the first half this weekend. But if Juan Mata doesn't want to be here, and Joe, I think it's actually more understandable with, I think it's way more understandable with Juan Mata than the others. Juan Mata is now entering the twilight of his career. I don't think he's got many more years left at the top. He's certainly not going to be a first choice. Unlike the other three so far on this list, I think Juan Mata's the one whose future is more in doubt in terms of, are they going to buy players to replace me? Are they going to do something along those lines? I think if you played him centrally, Juan Mata's probably got a fairly decent future at most clubs, and possibly even at United, which is where I think he's best. You put him at the tip of that diamond and you allow him to control the ball comes into him, it goes into the final third and he helps create chances. My issue with Juan Mata is when he's playing on the right wing, he's just bypassed. And if you want to be a counter-attacking football team that's going to attack with aggression and pace, well, Juan Mata's neither of those things. He's a lovely footballer with a lovely touch and a brilliant bit of vision and a good footballing brain. If you play him as a number 10 in the centre of the pitch, then yes, Juan Mata can stay. But Juan Mata, the right winger, not only Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's attacking, counter-attacking football team. Last one that we're going to be going with, Romelu Lukaku. Another player that's been maligned by fans. In his first season at United, scores 27 goals. It's a great return. It really is a good return. In a team that was sort of misfiring. But something happened over the last 12 months with Lukaku. Some poor decision making, put some serious size on over the summer, which he says was ordered by the Belgian team. Makes no sense. I was watching him on Sky Sports the other day, and it was all his goals for West Brom and for Everton. And you want to see how skinny the guy looked with Everton. That final season at Everton, he was lethal. He was on the last shoulder of defenders, one touching the shit out of it into the back of the net. Deadly. And in a counter-attacking side that wants movement up front, that's going to put balls in and around the area, Lukaku's going to get on those. But I feel like United are going in a slightly different direction. And that direction, I think, is probably going to be a lot more fluid. Players that can play central and can move out wide. Players that can actually create a counter-attack themselves. I think the likes of Marcus are probably going to be best suited to that, and probably maybe someone like a Jadon Sancho, who's been rumoured as well. And I think Lukaku's the kind of guy that I think United probably could get a decent resale value for, that can potentially go into the kitty to bring in new players. But I think I think it could be time up for Lukaku, and those rumours to Italy feel strong to me. Although I don't know if that's a good idea for him to go there. I do think it could be a place where you end up seeing him. Now, as you can see along the bottom here, there's a load of rumoured ins from Declan Rice, Alderweireld, Wan-Bissaka, Munier and Jadon Sancho. Any of those in the comments you guys think you would like to see brought in, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Laters.